and Evan Miller, who is doing our like character modeling and also is our level designer. So in the world right now, there are so many food options for kids, and not all of them are so great. So the problem here is really there's some information out there for kids as to like this food is not so good for me, this one's good for me. But there really isn't a knowledge of how this one food item that I'm eating is changing me over time. So the problem is that it's kind of a long process that has a slow evolutionary change. So our idea is let's make a game that can teach this by showing a character that's eating real-world food and evolving at a quicker rate. So as you can imagine, it's a lot about feeding the character in our game. So it begins with little Beaner here, who is our main character, and he's going to communicate to you that he's hungry, he needs some food. So it's up to you as the player. You're going to be in charge. It's up to you as the player to find an item that's in your kitchen, or if you're out on the go in a grocery store, and you type in the barcode, which sends that food off to Beaner, and he actually eats the real-world nutritional information of this item. So, and as you feed him, your choices affect his health. So if you feed him all Golden Gay Time like he ate there, he's going to be kind of fat after a while. Whereas if you feed him a balanced diet, then he'll, be healthy. And the ultimate goal here is that gameplay is affected by the health of the character. So if he's fat, he'll have a slow time moving around the environment, for example. Whereas if he's skinny and healthy, he'll move around freely and explore. So gameplay is meant to push the nutritional, educational information that we're trying to get across. So once the player has fed the character and it has this energy, what does it actually do? It turns out that Beaner is an interstellar explorer. He's been sent to a planet where he has to document the life on that planet. And he does this by using an indigenous tree called the bubble tree, which is kind of rare in the environment. And he taps it for the sap, and then he uses the sap to blow bubbles, which capture creatures. So it's a very exploratory process where you move freely around the environment and find these creatures. And our other main game design idea is that it's an experience that you're meant to come back to each and every day. So you play a little bit, document a few alien life forms, and then you come back the next day and do it again. So it gives us a long span of time to see how our character is evolving depending on the foods that we feed it. As you can imagine with our bubble blowing, we're going for a teenage female demographic. Teenager because we think if we can impart a little knowledge about healthier eating and it actually changes their behaviors, it will affect them for the rest of their lives in a positive way. And female because it's just a really hard demographic in video games. And there's only been a few examples of really successful games for girls. So our idea is let's design specifically for a female audience, and then we have the best chance of really succeeding for them. And then we also think if our game is fun and interesting to play, that guys will like it as well, because they're just more prone in general to play video games. So obviously the cell phone is very important for us, but the computer, in our original conception of the project, had an equal part. The cell phone was for feeding the character and also kind of being in touch with them on the go. So you play a mini game to build the muscle of the character, for example. And then the phone, or the computer, was really for that 3D immersive environment. So you go there to really explore the world and find and document that life. So that's originally how we designed our idea, but as the semester has gone on, we've had to scope down what we're doing, and we ran into a problem where either we're going to have to cut the mini games, which cut the immersion of the cell phone, we thought, or we're going to have to spend less time on that health simulation, which is the really educational portion of our game. So it was a tough decision. And we ultimately went to our wonderful advisor, Greg Leader, and also John Buchanan, who's not here right now, but our professor. And we talked to them. And we also talked amongst ourselves, and we came up with a third choice, which is to kick the crap out of that purple thing. No, actually, to cross off the computer portion of our game. So we're going to focus all our efforts on the cell phone. And the 3D immersive world that was once on the computer is going to become a 2D world on the phone. And that way, we really get that immersion that we want on the phone, so it's a true mobile game. And also, we had the extra time then to spend on our health simulation. So it was win-win for us, which is good. So now our updated technology model looks like this. You have your Java-enabled phone, and you enter a barcode. And that barcode then goes off to a server. And the nutritional information of that item is found due to the barcode. And it is fed into the health simulation where, for example, if you're feeding him, it will put the food into his stomach and digest it over time and give you energy. And then it will send that new character information back to the phone. And ultimately that will affect the gameplay. So previously we were going to have a demo here, which was really cool, but the internet doesn't work here. But luckily we have 3 phones, so if anyone's interested in actually playing our demo right now, we will be showing that after. So it's pretty cool. And we're sad about that. But that's about it since we've done the demo.
Okay, so what we've learned from our last milestone to this one has been a lot. We focused on 3 areas of research. The first one was technology, and using some of the assets that Adelaide has to offer, primarily Kukan and Mnet, who gave us a great pipeline of communication and information, and they really helped us to pick the direction we were going to go with our 2D mobile game. We also did a lot of article research and text research, and one of the best things we found was designing isometric adventure games, an article published by Nokia, which led us to our level editor mapping, which I'll explain in a little bit why that's important. We also looked at some of the older Nintendo games, and the reason we looked at that is they are really brilliant with a very efficient level design. And we really need that just because of our space limitations. So another area of research was game research, and what we looked at was games that have been historically popular with a female audience. We looked at games that are going to use graphics that we would like to try, whether it's isometric or tile-based. We looked at world exploration games. We looked at games with cute little creatures. And we found in each of these games something that would give us a better perspective on what we wanted to do with our project. And probably the third area of research, which is the most important, is nutrition. And this slide may not tell you very much, and the only thing it's really meant to show you is that it's a lot more complicated than we had originally thought it was going to be. So essentially what this is, we found that one of the biggest calorie burners that you have going on in your body is just being alive. So 60% of your calories are just you being there on the earth and not dead. So basically what that pointed out to us was, obviously a healthy diet is incredibly important to your overall healthy lifestyle. Of course, exercise is very important as well, not to gloss over that. So when we decided to switch to this platform, we took on some risks. One, we went from a 3D environment with essentially unlimited space to a 2D environment, which is going to be on a very tiny screen. So we have a limited screen, a limited amount of memory. So we have had to do a lot of creative things to make the best use of the space that we have. One of the ways we're doing that is the tile-based games. And of course the problem with that is nobody in our group has ever done any of this before. So we're learning how to create these tiles, we're learning how to put these tiles together, and we're learning how to program these tiles in all for the first time pretty much. Also, with the demo, what we definitely could have shown you is the user interface on the phone is not as intuitive as what you can do on a keyboard, where you can say, type anything you want. You have all of these keys, it's right at your fingertips. You have about 15 keys on a phone, and each one of those, I'm sure you've all had text messages where you're doing auto-completing for you.